The night roared with the fury of a storm that seemed to rise from the very heart of the earth. The sky split open with endless flashes of white. The air shook with thunder, and the forest trembled under sheets of rain that fell so heavy they drowned. The sound of leaves and branches breaking the river that once ran calmly through the trees had become a beast of wild madness, swollen beyond its banks, surging with waves that devoured everything in their path. Roots, stones, nests, the fragile safety of life itself. And in that chaos, in the blackness of night broken only by lightning, there was a raft built from rough logs held together by old rope and fate itself. That raft was being hurled down the merciless current. And on that raft stood a she-wolf, her golden eyes burning with fire, her body soaked, her fur clinging to her skin, her chest heaving with exhaustion, yet her stance unbroken, because pressed against her legs were two small pups trembling and shivering, their tiny hearts beating with a rhythm of fear and hope that only children know. The she-wolf had not sought this river. She had not sought this night. Fate had forced her here when the flood poured into her den, tearing away the earth around it, drowning the burrow, where she had thought her young would grow in safety. The ground collapsed, the roots snapped, the walls gave way, and she had no choice but to grab her pups in her jaws and leap onto the first thing that could carry them above the water she found. The raft, by chance or by miracle, no one could tell. Perhaps the forest itself offered her this gift. Perhaps destiny wanted her story to be written in the water and the wind, and she clung to it, pressing her paws against the rough wood as the current seized them and hurled them into the darkness. Every wave that crashed against the raft was a threat, each spray of water a warning. The pups pressed their bodies against her legs, their small eyes wide with confusion, their ears folded back against the roar of the storm. They did not understand the scale of the danger, but they understood their mother. They understood her warmth, her steady growl, her unyielding form that blocked the river from swallowing them. They pressed closer to her, trembling, but trusting, because in her they felt a wall against the endless night. The she-wolf's claws scraped against the wood as she shifted her weight to balance the raft. Her muscles burned, her paws bled, but she would not let the raft flip. She would not let the water take her children. The river may have claimed the forest, the river may have torn apart trees that stood for centuries, but it would not claim her pups. She let out a growl, not at any creature but at the storm itself, a vow that she would endure until her breath gave out. Hours stretched into eternity as the raft carried them mile after mile. Lightning lit the sky, revealing flashes of horror, fallen trees rushing downstream, carcasses of animals caught in the flood, and once, even the eyes of a bear clinging to a broken log before the current pulled it away. But the she-wolf kept her gaze forward, her mind fixed not on the things lost, but on the fragile lives at her side. Hunger clawed at her stomach. Thirst burned her. Throat exhaustion pressed against her bones, yet her spirit burned with the fire of a mother's oath. Her mind drifted in those moments of endless struggle. She remembered the quiet days before the flood, the den warm and dry, the pups tumbling in, play biting each other's ears with small sharp teeth yipping in joy. She remembered licking their fur, clean curling around them at night, her body a wall of warmth against the chill. She remembered their first attempts at walking, their paws stumbling, their tails wagging. She remembered the sound of their tiny howls, shy and thin at first, then louder, as they found their voices, and those memories fueled her like fire in her chest. She would not let those moments be stolen by the river. She would not let their laughter end here. The raft slammed against a rock, jerking them violently. The pups yelped, one nearly slipping toward the edge, but the she-wolf lunged, pressing her paw against its back, forcing it to stay on the raft. She snarled at the river. Her teeth bared, her eyes blazing, and the current seemed to laugh in response, waves crashing harder, but she stood her ground. She shifted her weight again, finding balance with the instinct of survival, honed by generations of wolves before her. The night gave way slowly to dawn. The storm weakened, the thunder rolled farther away, the rain eased, though the river still surged with wild force. The sky cracked open to reveal streaks of pale light, and for the first time in endless hours, hope touched her heart. She lifted her head, droplets falling from her fur, and she saw ahead where the current split around a bend, and beyond that calmer waters, her chest heaved with relief. Though she did not lower her guard. Not yet. The river was a liar. It could trick her, it could strike when she least expected it. The pups stirred, pressing their muzzles against her fur, their small bodies still trembling, but their eyes blinked against the morning light. They whined softly, and she bent her head, licking them gently, her tongue warm, her touch steady, telling them in the only language she had that they were safe, as long as she breathed. The raft drifted toward the bank where broken trees jutted into the river, and the she-wolf knew what she had to do. She could not wait. She could not let the raft break apart. She had to move now. With a deep growl, she grabbed one pup by the scruff, lifted him into her jaws, and leapt into the icy water. Her body cutting through the current with powerful strokes, she swam with the strength of desperation, every muscle screaming, but her heart pushing her forward. She reached the shore, claws digging into the mud, pulling herself up, dragging the pup onto solid ground. She placed him gently on the earth, licked his face once, then, without hesitation, turned back to the river. The other pup still clung to the raft, his eyes wide, his small body pressed against the wood as the current dragged it further. She plunged back into the water. The river slammed her against branches. The current tried to twist her under, but she fought with the rage of love. She swam harder, her chest burning, her lungs begging for air, her eyes locked on her baby. She reached the raft as it smashed against a fallen trunk. She lunged, her jaws closing around the pup just as the log splintered and vanished into the flood. She tightened her grip and turned her body, forcing her way back against the current. She swam with every drop of strength left in her body. Her legs numb, her vision narrowing, but she refused to let go. The shore drew closer. Her paws touched the mud. She dragged herself up, her body collapsing onto the ground, the pup safe beside his sibling. She lay there, gasping, her chest rising and falling, her body trembling with exhaustion. Her fur torn and bleeding, but her eyes alive, her pups pressed against her, licking her face, whining softly. She pulled them close, curling her body around them, her warmth covering them, her heartbeat steady against their small bodies, and for the first time she allowed herself to close her eyes. The storm was over. She had kept her oath. The forest slowly healed in the days that followed. The waters receded, the air cleared, the sun returned. The she-wolf carried her pups to higher ground, to a new den safe from the reach of floods. She hunted tirelessly. Though her wounds ached, though her body bore scars that would never fade, she did not rest, she did not complain. She provided food. She guarded the entrance. She licked her pups clean. She taught them to walk again on the dry earth. She watched them grow stronger each day, their small barks turning into playful howls, their steps surer, their eyes brighter. And though they played, though they wrestled, and tumbled in the grass, they always returned to press against her side at night, their small bodies curled against hers, as if remembering the night on the river when only her warmth stood between them and the darkness. The forest whispered her story, though no human would ever write it. The trees spoke of it in the rustle of their leaves, the river in its calmer song. The birds in their morning calls, the story of a mother who stood against the flood, who fought the storm with nothing but her will, who bore the weight of exhaustion, hunger, pain, and fear, yet never faltered because love bound her heart stronger than rope, stronger than wood, stronger than the fury of nature itself. And when the pups grew, they would carry that strength within them, though they might not remember the details of that night. The blood of their mother would carry the lesson forever, that survival is not just teeth and claws, not just strength and speed, but love, fierce and unyielding love that defies rivers, storms, and the very night itself. And so the she-wolf lived not as a shadow in the wild, not as a nameless creature passing through the forest, but as a flame eternal in the hearts of her children, in the whispers of the wind, in the silent tears of those who witness her struggle and understand that in her fight lies the purest truth of life, that the bond between a mother and her young is stronger than any flood and brighter than any dawn.